Welcome back. In this video, we'll finish off part 3 of assignment 1. And we mentioned earlier that we're working with initially MySQL database, which is a remote database, and that can scale to be a large enterprise class server with, thousands of concurrent connections and petabytes of data and a really muscular database. And then we, in step 2, looked at downsizing to a personal sized database. And now we're going to look at how we can fuse the two together. So we won't be working in detail with this till towards the end of the term. So you might want to bookmark this so you can come back to it when it's time to make this kind of connection. The reason this is going to be a really handy thing to do is this personal database tool that we're using, LibreOffice Base, actually has a dynamite report generating engine, and it's also a very good low-code forms-based engine for building typical fat client applications. Fat client applications are applications that run on PCs. They have to be installed on PCs, like your big software applications like Microsoft Word and whatnot are fat client applications, as opposed to something that just runs in a website as a web page or runs on as a mobile application. Okay, so this is kind of old school, but still very, very useful. And best of all, the tool is free and it's a great learning tool, and it's still used for building database systems at a very inexpensive price point that are really quite powerful. I think you're going to enjoy this, but it's a great way to explore this whole architecture we're going to be learning about with databases, from personal file systems to remote distributed SQL database management systems that scale to very large enterprises, and a low-code tool that allows us to run the gamut and build across these different architectures. So kind of neat. If that doesn't make a lot of sense to you right now, don't worry. It's going to make sense as we work with it more. Right now, we just need to go through the mechanics of how do we make the local LibreOffice front end connect to the MySQL back end. And so that's what we're going to look at. So let's put this aside for a moment. This being our Canvas course shell, because we've read the instructions here. You can scroll down and read the rest of the instructions. I've read ahead. And I'm going to start LibreOffice. Here's LibreOffice Base. I'm going to start that. And instead of creating a new database, I want to connect to an existing remote database, and it's not going to be Firebird, another very good database engine. And it's not JDBC, it's not Oracle, it's not Microsoft Access. We're going to pick MySQL / MariaDB. MariaDB is simply a fork. It's a twinned sister of MySQL in open source parlance. And so we want the MySQL or MariaDB connector, and we're going to use the direct connection. And let's say next. And it says, how do you want to connect? There are different connectors. They have different pros and cons. We're going to use the direct connection. Very efficient, very good connector. We're going to use that one. Next. And here's where we need to go back and look at what our database name was that we created that we want to connect to. And it's also case sensitive. So we need to get upper and lower case right. If we get it wrong, it's going to be very frustrating because it'll fail and it won't really tell you why it failed. And we need to remember our connection information that the instructor provided to us. So that was, let's see, swarm.cis.sbcc.net in my case. Again, you should check what your instructor has provided to you because that can change from term to term. I was assigned port number 3335, and the database name is going to be Candy2, and I think it's all lowercase. Let's test it and find out. And the username is going to be root. It does use a password. Let's test the connection. I'm going to go copy the password. Okay. And it worked successfully. So I think I got the capitalization on candy right. And let's go next. And yes, go ahead and register that database for me. And let's finish up. And let's give this a meaningful name, but also one that allows us to distinguish it from just the Candy2 database. So yes, it's the Candy2 database via MySQL. And let's put that also, let's store this ODB file in our CIS-107. And I'm just going to leave it right here at the root level of that folder for now. You might want to create a folder to store and organize these connectors better, but this will be fine for now. So I'm going to save that. And I don't care about registering those formats. We've talked about that before. And look, here are the databases that I created in the previous step. And I would be having a problem if I had tried to connect to Candy if I hadn't done part 1 before I did part 2, because Candy wouldn't exist. But it does exist, and there it is. And for this exercise, we need to run some SQL directly and on the remote system. And so we're going to come up here to Tools and click on SQL, and it gives us a little command processor that we can run remotely. And let's go refresh our recollection. What is the SQL script that we are to run? So I'm going to minimize this for a moment, hop back over to our Canvas instructions, and scroll down. And there's part 3, and down and down and down. And good. Here's where we are. Yeah, that's the window we're looking at currently. And so let me copy that script, highlight it, Control C. It's in my clipboard. I can minimize this, hop back over to our execute SQL statement window and paste it in. And again, take a moment to replace your first name. I'm John, so I'll make that John, and your last name, Beck. And let's execute that. Oh, and show the output. There we go. So I ran this. I told the remote server that I'm controlling from the LibreOffice Base front end, sent that command to my MySQL database server and executed that, and I got the result. Jon Bek is running version 8.0.40, and of course this will change from semester to semester and maybe even in the middle of a semester if we do upgrades and update you to a later version of MySQL. So that number doesn't really matter so much as the fact that we got a number back and it is successful. So we would take a screenshot of this, label it appropriately for part 3, put that into our Word document, save that Word document, and upload and submit that to the assignment Dropbox by the due date. And our project is complete. And if you followed all these steps and gotten these results, you should expect to get full credit. So go you, yay. All right, we'll leave it here for now and hope to see you in the next video.